Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and this time I'm also switching up my production setup a bit. I have the studio mic installed again and we're back to 1080p 60 fps instead of 4K 30, which is then downscaled to 1080 30 because, well, the video noise thing that I hope to get better with 4K raw material didn't really pan out. So we're back to getting 1080p source footage, which I am then just going to noise filter with a plugin. Okay, but let's get into what I'm actually going to talk about. So this right here is the GTX 580 DCUII, which you can see is now heavily modified. Well, kinda heavily modified, it's just volt modded in some sense wires. But yeah, so I ran this a bit on the same setup that you saw the 580 Founders Edition on, and this has again broken my personal best score. It's I think it's over 5,950. Like, I'm getting close to breaking 6,000, and I think if I take this card on ice water, I'm actually gonna break 6,000. So yeah, this is now my best, fastest GTX 580, which is probably just because this does not have the reference VRM and I can actually run more than 1.25 volts without having to worry that it will blow up. And the reason why this is better than the Lightnings is because the Lightnings, yes, they have some voltage control, but they also top out at like 1.25 or 1.3 volts. This can go higher than that. So, yeah, let's go over the mods. I tried my best to make them look good-ish, but yeah, ladder wires just kind of look like ladder wires. So yeah. So the first thing I did is a vCore volt mod. That's pretty straightforward down here. You just solder to one side of that little capacitor over there. Oops. Oh damn, I bumped the mic. Well, RTX voice is on. Let's see if that filtered it out. But yeah, so there is a guide online how to do this. There's actually several ways of volt modding this, apparently. So if you search for GTX 580 DCUII volt mod, the first one is going to be on an Austrian site, which, well, I'm German, so I was able to read what they were saying. And they had two variants of doing this volt mod. I used neither of those, but yeah, I'm talking about that because I know a guy who has a 570 DCUII and he tried one of those methods. There's one where you remove a transistor over here, a resistor, and then there's another one where you just solder a 100 ohm potentiometer to two other points than I did here. The one where you remove the resistor apparently bricks the card, at least the 570. So I'm just gonna tell everyone to not use that one because of safety reasons. Then where I got the mod from, because, well, this, like, it's an Asus card, so of course there's no datasheet for this, so I had to find other sources. I think the second Google result is someone asking in a forum about a volt mod. And the only reply to that is someone who turned one of these cards into an e-power. And when you go to that article, they have a picture where to put that wire. And that's where I got the volt mod from. And, well, this works. So I use that one. Same for memory volt mod. Like, both of these are modded with 50 kilo ohm potentiometers, I think. While, like, here a 20k ohm would be okay too, but it's just like I have 10k and 50k and nothing in between, so I use the 50k for this. Kind of same thing. This mod is actually from that Austrian site. You also just solder onto a capacitor. So yeah, don't know if you can see that really. So yeah, that gives you memory voltage control, and this card, as I've said before, this is on, as you can see here, it says E before the dash. So this is Samsung 1 gigabit E die. And yeah, So the 580 FE also had E-die, and that one scaled, yeah, it did do 2500. Yeah, so that one scaled about 200 megahertz just by being on water, like just having the extra thermal capacity of the water. That scaled 200 megahertz. This did too. So again, we've confirmed the thing that a Samsung 1 gigabit E-die GDDR5, I have to say, like, there may be a 1 gigabit E-die on something else. We're talking about GDDR5 here. Yeah, this stuff just likes being cold. So yeah, this card does 2300 on air. Just by having it on water, it now did 2500. And with that voltage increase, so I set it, so like I have a sense line here that's literally just connected to this capacitor over here, which is on the memory rail, to which I might say, do not do this. Do not solder wires to that stuff to measure voltage. It is a very bad idea. It is a literal fire hazard. Same goes for this line here, which is the same, but just for vCore. These are literal fire hazards. Do not do this. The reason I'm doing it is because I am well aware of the risks, and because I have a lot of trust into my power supplies over current protection, because in the past when I tripped it, it tripped really, really fast. So I just hope it can prevent a fire if I should short something, because like this is VMEM, this is vCore. If this touches something that's not vCore or VMEM, you're gonna have a short, you're gonna have a really bad short, and potentially a fire. So yeah, do not do this. I just wanted to measure things. And the problem is this card does have a backplate, and because of that prodializer there, you can't really get into the core. So I had to measure my voltages from somewhere else. So yeah, that's why those lines exist. But yeah, do not do this. Just as a public service announcement. But yeah, so I set memory to 1.7 volts, measured at this capacitor. And now the card can actually max out the memory slider in MS Afterburner, which is 2605 megahertz. Now I don't know why the memory slider now stops there, because I do remember running the card at 2675 with MS Afterburner a year before. I have no idea how to unlock the clock range in MS Afterburner, so I just did a workaround and used EVGA Precision X1, which is kind of annoying because Precision X1, like I tried Precision X16, but you have to be logged into EVGA's thing to download that, and I just didn't bother. So I got X1, and X1 is not really designed for cards as old as the 580. So X1 does not have voltage control for the 580, which, like, yes, I have my potentiometer over here, but I'm still using the software voltage control to do some fine adjustments. So I had to use Afterburner for voltage, and then Precision for setting clocks, which is really annoying because Precision X1 only does offsets, and MS Afterburner sets clocks directly for this card. So I had to now translate everything into offsets, but at least I could set more than 605 megahertz offset, like, because stock this is 2 gigahertz, so I could set more than 2605 in X1. Sadly though, it didn't really go farther than that, because 2625 was already unstable again. So yeah, to take the memory to where I had it before, I would have to take the card on ice again, or just pump the voltage a bit more. Like, yeah, I think I would test 1.8 volts. I wouldn't really run it long term at that. I would be okay with running 1.7 volts long term, but 1.8 is kinda pushing it a bit for my liking. But for tests, that's gonna be okay. But yeah, to take the memory down further in temperature should help with memory clocks on this. Same kinda goes with core. So core, I did run it, like, because I'm measuring at the VRM here. I'm not getting precise voltages for the core. It is about 20 to 30 millivolts a drop from the VRM, like from where I measure to the core. So I set V-core to 1.35 volts, which means that under load, the core is getting about 1.32, 1.33 volts. Yeah, it's just getting that. And yeah, so that made the card run at 1060, like 1060 megahertz, which is higher than the FE code, even though this core does have a lower ASIC quality, which is just like proof again that ASIC quality doesn't mean anything. This is just a much better PCB, and better PCB is worth more than having a high ASIC quality. So this is beating the 90% ASIC on the 580 FE. But yeah, probably also because I ran 100 millivolts more than what is the safety limit on the reference card, because that one will blow up if I go over 1.25 volts long term. This one, like, I know that this one does 1.5 volts with liquid nitrogen. So yeah, running this 1.35 should be okay. Like, the heatsink wasn't really getting hot. Like, I'm pointing my fans at the card like I did in the other video. The VRM heatsink didn't even get hot. The backplate also stayed relatively cold. Like, yeah, so it didn't really get hot. So not really an issue. So yeah, that's about the state of the card. I do plan to run this on ice water. Just have to wait till my ambient temps go down enough. Actually, today I woke up and it's currently, yeah, it's still doing it. It's currently snowing outside. And I think the next couple of days this is not going to change, so I might try this very soon. Though I have some other things also planned, which is, well, I first have to get the ice to run ice water. And then I thought, instead of just using the water bucket you saw in the last video, I thought of using an old cool box we have and modify that to run my ice water in that one, to have it hold longer. Like, it's not gonna be able to chill it down so that I don't lose ice at all. I will lose ice, but it's gonna hold for longer if I use that cool box. I'm just gonna have to like cut holes into its side probably, so I can fit the top of it without having like a big air gap. And there's also the issue that currently that thing only has a 12 volt car power adapter, and not like I would need a AC to DC converter to make that work. Like, I could theoretically use an old power supply, because that's 12, like I could just use the EPS cable of an old power supply. But that would be a bit overkill, because that cool box is just ready for 4 amps. So like 41 watts or something like that. So yeah, I could just spend 10 bucks and get like a cheap power supply from Amazon. But like, building things yourself is always nice, so I still don't know, but I do want to use that cool box. So yeah, I think it also just fits more water than the water bucket, and it is designed to keep things cool. Like, it has a thermal insulation, which the bucket doesn't, and it does have that top which has a cooling module in it. So it should be a lot more effective for running ice water. So yeah, those are like the plans. So I really wanna run this card cold. Despite everything I say about Aces and me not liking them that much, I really do like this card, if you ignore the awful heatsink, which is why this is on water. And yeah, actually that's not, like, I really should make that video. Like, I've been teasing that video. Like, I have some issues with Aces, but I also like them a lot in other ways, and I would like make a video about like things I like, things I don't like, but who really cares about my opinion about Aces? Whatever. Thing is, I also have another Matrix card coming, because it's like the thing is, I chopped up one of my 580s to e-power the 970. I chopped up another 580 to make an e-power, and that e-power failed because one of the little DC to DC buck converters I had to apply 3.3 volts to the enable pin and the VCC pin of the PWM controller. That thing was faulty and it killed the PWM controller. So that e-power did not work out. And so I went on eBay and tried to pick up more 580s to turn into e-powers, and I have actually at least 2 of them coming right now. There may be a third one. It isn't decided yet. But yeah, there's 2 more reference 580s coming, which I could turn into e-powers, which I'm planning to turn into e-powers. And then there's another card, which is hopefully not gonna end up as an e-power. And that's the HD7970 Matrix. So I do have a 780 Ti Matrix. I almost had a 580 Matrix, which was untested, which would have likely ended up as an e-power, which is just like the 580 Matrix is basically this, just with twice the VRM, because there's like, I don't know if they just drive 2 phases worth of components with 1 signal, or if they use doublers, but yeah, the direct CO2 is like, the matrix of the 580 is like this PCB, but with like 2 times the vCore. So yeah. But I am getting a 7970 matrix, because like, I do really like Fermi, but I also want to start working with Tahiti-based cards. I do have my 17950, which I haven't used that much, but it was already pretty fun. Only problem with that one is, well, it did have a short VRM. I like to think that I repaired that, but the one problem that this card still has, it's an HD 7950, and 7950s have a very low overcurrent protection. So while the VRM is completely fine, especially after I upgraded it, it does just shut down once it hits 200 amps, which happens at basically anything over 1.2 volts, which is annoying. And I was looking into hard modding OCP, but then yeah, like Bullseye himself showed up and told me like, yeah, don't bother, just use a BIOS mod. And then he sent me one of his, yeah, like he did have a 7950 on LN2 once. He did send me the BIOS for that one, but I somehow must have lost it because I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. Also, I didn't know if it was compatible with my card either, because like AMD cards only have 1 memory entry apparently, not like Nvidia cards where BIOS support several memory ICs. So yeah, might not have been compatible anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna have to BIOS mod that card to get it working. So I was thinking, well, I really would like to run it now, this winter, with cold ambient and ice water, just like this one. And I don't really want to bother with flashing that 7950, I just want to get a 7970, because these don't have that problem. And so I went on eBay and I found this Matrix one for way too much money. But, well, I bought it because it is really nice. Like, I think best overall would be the Lightning, but the Matrix does have like the strongest vCore VRM you can get for 7970, which is really nice. And like, I only saw 1 Lightning and that one was broken, so I didn't go for that one. But yeah, there is a 7970 Matrix coming. I am planning to run it cold, like ice water, not LN2 cold. I don't have an LN2 pot, not yet. I might be looking into getting one. But yeah, I am planning to run that 7970 on ice water, just like this card. And maybe, like, I was thinking about running my so this card, the second 580 Lightning, which is the Twin Frozer card, it is currently back on the stock heatsink. It doesn't work like this, like the stock heatsink does not have the right mounting pressure. I just have it on there because it looks nice when I have it in on my shelf. But yeah, so like I've talked about this before, this thing does have a really annoying mounting pressure problem. Like you need a very exact amount of mounting pressure for this card to work, and I've only gotten it to work so far on the water block I use and the Accelero Extreme heatsink. Every other heatsink I tried didn't work. And it needs to have the IHS on. If I do not use the IHS, it doesn't work on any heatsink, which is really annoying. So I was thinking of picking up some liquid metal and putting it under the IHS of that card, which should fix most of the thermal issues I have with using the IHS while benchmarking. So if that plan pans out, I might be running this one as well, maybe in SLI with the direct CO2. I could do that. So yeah, you might be seeing this one as well, though this, it's not that certain I'm going to run this one. And yeah. So, but I am planning to run this ice water and the 7970 matrix when it arrives. Don't have it yet. So yeah, then that's pretty much everything. I have somehow crossed 20 minutes just by rambling too much again. And yeah, so I finally done something with the 580 Direct CO2. Like, this is the first card I bought for just modding or like just overclocking. Every other card I bought before this I bought for running it daily. This is the first card I bought for just playing around with it. And I've finally done something, and it is really fun. Like, the VRAM is nice and strong, it has nice and good memory that just keeps scaling. The core isn't that bad either. Like, overall, very, very nice card. Like, I really like it. It's not a Lightning. VRM wise, it's not quite there where the Lightning is, or the Matrix 580, or like, what else is there? There's a Classified, which has a 14 phase VRM, I think. This is just an 8. But like, this is still much, much nicer than a reference card. So yeah, and there's a lot of these out there. Like, there's also a lot of Lightnings out there, but there's an absolute ton of these things out there, so you can get them pretty easily. So if anyone here wants to get into Fermi benching and doesn't wanna like look for a super rare card, or doesn't wanna spend the money for a more rare card, Direct CO2 is getting my seal of approval. This is a really nice card to play with. So yeah. And the video is long enough by now, so thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, goodbye.